Hi, I'm Lee. I'm on Instagram as louleigh_ and Ravelry as louleigh, and I sell knitting bags at Shop Louleigh on Etsy, and you can find links to all of my online places at louleigh.com. And this is usually a podcast about my handmade life, but today I wanted to pop in and talk to you about my new pattern collection, the Tiny Owls pattern collection that came out on Friday. So this is not a normal podcast, and if you're bummed about that, then I hope to see you next time. But otherwise, I'm going to show you the samples and the yarns that I used and all that sort of thing. You can see all this clutter in the background is bag making stuff. So the collection includes, it's an accessories collection that includes a hat and a pair of mittens and a pair of socks, all with this little owl motif around the edge. And actually I should show it to you on this because you can see it really clearly there. So this was a little sort of a doodle that I made in a notebook quite a few years ago. I was doing a project where I was trying to come up with a new little stranded colourwork pattern, and then to knit it into a pair of socks every day for a month. But I didn't make it to the end of the month, and I don't think I even still have the notebook, but this little owl motif kind of just stuck in my head, and I had been wanting to kind of do something with it. And so I came up with this collection. So the first thing that I started working on were the mittens, and I have knitted these out of Tamar, which is Tamar 4-ply, which is a luster blend from Blacker Yarns. And I've had another colour of this in my stash for quite a while, but I hadn't knitted with it, and so for this collection I wanted to use more British wools, and so I decided to give this a go. It has long wool breeds in it, so breeds like Wensleydale and Teesdale and Cotswolds, and I think it's Cotswold, and Leicester long wool and those sorts of ones. So they have a bit of a shine to them, a luster, and I'm interested to see how these wear as well. They've got a little bit of a halo, but I would have thought the long wool should wear quite well. And I'm also interested to see whether or not they pill over time. If you've knitted with these yarns and you've got a garment or something with them, I would be really interested in your experience with it. So I started off knitting a mitten, and initially I had chosen this beautiful sort of lavender colour to go with the grey, but it didn't photograph very well, so I only have one mitten. But I think this colour combination is just so elegant and pretty. So it was a bit of a shame that it just didn't show up that well in the photographs, because I think that's really pretty. But I loved the fabric, especially after it's been blocked. It just comes up with this beautiful, not too heavy fabric that it feels lovely. So I did block these. Let me find, I had lots of fun making mitten blockers. Melody from Bee Mandarins has done a tutorial on making mitten blockers on the Pom Pom website, and it's not tricky. I mean, you can probably work it out without the tutorial. So I just made these out of bits of cardboard. So there's the thumb shape. Whoops, it's got fluff on it. And there's the mitten shape. So I just made a couple of mittens and thumbs, and then covered them in tape, and that worked really well. I didn't put the mittens on when they were completely wet. I just put them on when they were damp, and then you just pop the blocker in there, and then just pop the thumb section in, and it just blocked them out really nicely. I think blocking colour work just finishes it off so well, especially this little lice pattern on the mitten there. The other thing that I did, whenever I don't like to have a float that's more than 5 stitches long, because I feel it's just so easy to catch, especially if you have, you know, rings on and you're putting your hands into your mittens or something. And in these sections here, the floats are quite long as well. And so I like to catch my floats in the back. And it actually makes quite a pretty pattern inside there, if you can see it. But it just means that there's nothing really to snag as you're going along, or as you're using the mittens. Keeps everything neat and tidy. And yeah, I don't like this little snowflake pattern is about 5 stitches apart, and so I just caught it on the middle stitch there, just to just to manage the floats. And there's a few tutorials. I think Kristen from Villenvine has done a little tutorial on catching floats recently. So yeah, if you're having a go at those, then that's something to learn about. The stranded colour work on these is quite easy, but if it's your first time doing stranded colour work, I think that starting with a hat is a good idea, because I think that managing floats and the tension on your floats is much easier on a larger circumference. Whereas when you're on a smaller circumference, things tend to bunch up a little bit, and it's easier to pull your floats a little bit too tight. So yeah, if it's your first time doing colour work, then this is probably the one that I would suggest that you start with. And one of my test knitters was a first timer, and she did a wonderful job with her hat. It looked really awesome. So yes, this did have a pom-pom on it, but I wanted to be able to show the crown shaping when I photographed it, because I think when you're knitting, it's nice to be able to see what the top of the hat looks like as you're doing the shaping. Just to give you a visual on what the pattern instructions mean. So yeah. So that was the hat and the mittens. I have a pom-pom there. Detachable pom-pom. I should probably have put it back on. Yeah, and it's just a beanie style, so you can, I made this one a bit slouchy because I think that looks better on me. Here we go. You can't really see. Can you see? I don't know. So yeah. So that was the yarn that I used for the hat and mittens. I blocked the hat on a balloon, which is still sitting over here and is gradually deflating. So what I do is I just measure the circumference of my scone, and then I blow the balloon up to match. And then, as I say, I put the hat on not when it's straight out of the bath. I put it on when it's just a little bit damp and leave it to finish drying on the balloon. But that has been sitting over there gradually deflating. I'm not sure why I haven't just deflated it and thrown it out, but hey ho. So yes. So, and then I thought it would be fun to have a pair of matching socks as well. And these are toe-up socks. And that was just to get the beak up the right way. Because you can't have an owl with an upside down beak. So it's a toe-up sock, and I have used the Flegel heel, which I discovered when I knitted, is it the Grello Love Socks by Claire Devine? And I think this is my favourite short row heel. I think it it has a gusset, and I just think it fits over my heel really nicely, and so that's why it's really easy to do. But that's why I've chosen that particular heel. If you're knitting the socks, the one thing I would just be a bit careful about is that you don't pull the floats too tight when you're doing the lice pattern or the snowflake pattern all the way up the foot and the leg, because otherwise I knitted one sock and realised that I couldn't even get it. I could get it onto my foot, but then the leg was too tight, and so the floats on the leg were too tight, so I couldn't actually get it over my ankle. So you're better off to leave a little bit of slack when you have your floats. They're better off being just a touch too loose than too tight if you're knitting the socks. And then I've gone up a needle size when I get to the really heavy colour work up here as well, just to make sure that it is at the same gauge as the rest of the leg, because I'm inclined to pull my colour work in a little bit. So yeah, that just helps me even it out. And then I went back to the normal needle size for the rest of the sock. The yarn I used is another new to me yarn that I really enjoyed, and I went no nylon for this one. So I used this beautiful yarn from Kettle Yarn Co. Can I show that there? Is it going to focus? And it's Islington, and it's British Blueface Leicester. I had to practice saying that because of all the bees. And it has superwash Blueface Leicester and silk in it. And I love the fabric of these socks. It'll be really interesting to see how they wear actually. But they feel, where's the other sock gone? They feel really luxe. It's just such a nice, it's quite a lightweight fabric, and it just feels so nice. So it'll be interesting to wear these and see how they last. That would be really good fun. I'm worried now. Where's my other sock gone? It was around here before. Actually, I should show you this as well. This hat here was the first hat sample that I did, and I used Blacker Yarn's Shetland 4-ply, but I didn't quite get gauge with it. But I thought I might as well finish the hat. But as you can see, it's quite a bit big. So I thought I would put that one in my gift basket for when I find an owl lover with a massive head, or someone that just has lots of hair. And I did make this really oddly shaped pom-pom as well with the leftovers. Each of these takes about 100 grams, and you need about 30 grams of the contrast colour, and then the rest in the main colour, so if you're making them. And it was really fun with the test knitters, because I had kind of just assumed that you would, it seemed obvious to me that to use the light colour for the main colour and then a darker colour for the contrast. But a couple of the test knitters did it the other way round, and so it looked like the owls were out in a starry night, and it was so cute. Yeah, so yeah, that's that then. So I thought I would have a knit along. If you're planning to knit any of these patterns, come over to the louleigh Ravelry group and join in. So I have decided to knit along using these yarns, which I'm going to do the Starry Night Owls option, I think, and use this as the main colour and this one as the contrast colour. But this was a really interesting yarn that I got from Ginger Twist Studio when I was there in the summer, and it is called Masham Mayhem 4-ply. Masham or Massam? I think you say it Massam. It's near here, and I've spun with Massam. It's kind of a longer sort of medium is it medium? I should have done my research before I started talking about it. So this is 75% Blueface Leicester and 25% British Massam. So I thought it would be fun to knit up some more owls in these two colours. I think they'll be really pretty. And the other thing that I thought would be fun for the knit along, if you're planning on joining in and you'd like to actually try some of the yarns that I used, I thought it would be fun to give away the bits and pieces that I have left over. So for the Islington, I have enough, there's enough copper to use that as the main colour and enough squirrely to use that as the contrast colour, and I think there's enough here. I should weigh it and I'll put the weights on it for you. There's enough here to do another pair of socks or to do a really nice pair of mittens at least. You could probably do a small version of the hat, but you might not get a pom-pom out of it as well. Yeah, so I thought it would be fun to give that away, and also to give away the leftovers of my Tamar. So it's the same story here. There's more of this red left over than there is of the grey. So you'd have to do a little bit of thinking about what size you're going to knit and which you want to use as the main colour and the contrast. But you could have the option too of having the purple there with the grey, because I think that's really pretty. So I'm going to start a little giveaway thread in the louleigh Ravelry group. Please enter if you actually intend to join in the cow. And if you just say which you would prefer, I'll just keep drawing until there's some Tamar and the Islington given away. Say which you would prefer to have, the Islington or the Tamar, and if you want to choose the Tamar, just let me know if you want that lovely purple colour or that lovely brick red colour, and that would be lots of fun. Yeah, it's always fun when you've really enjoyed a yarn to share it with somebody else and see what they think as well. So yeah, so if you are knitting the owls patterns, then there's a hashtag which I'll put on the bottom of the screen here, and it would be lovely to see you over in the Ravelry group to join in the cow. And so that's all from me for today. I will be back with a regular episode next time talking about my regular knitting projects, but it's just that I've been knitting owls for a number of weeks now. So it'll be lovely to see you next time. If you've enjoyed yourself and you want to come back, then please subscribe, and yeah, I shall see you next time. Cheerio!